It's weird to talk about the Nationals because it's almost the same story every day. We started talking about this last week, Jason, when you were out. And they were only 4 games back at the time. But we're like, what's going on? Why haven't they turned the corner? It's basically, at that point, it was just slightly before the midpoint of the season. We're like, should you hit the panic button or do you just keep trotting these guys out, waiting for the offense to, deliver, and they're going to be fine? And it just has been loss after loss after loss since. And, they lost 3 out of 4. They did get 1 win against Philly, 3 out of 4 over that 4-game stand. And I know they're playing Boston's really tough, and they lost last night, but it's 3 losses in a row. They're now just a game above 500 at 42-41. And you just wonder if they're going to turn it around.
And that's a loss with Max on the mound. Like that's when you look at, you say, even though he's had some issues with wins and losses lately, even though he's been pitching well, you look at that one and say, that's one you should probably win. At home with Max on the mound, don't win it.
Well, Max has lost 4 of his last 5 starts.
And given up too many runs, though.
Right. On June 10th, he lost 2-0 to San Francisco. On June 16th, he lost 2-0 to Toronto up there in Toronto. Then he lost 1-0 down in Tampa, and then, of course, last night loses 4-3. So in those 4 losses,
they're giving him 3 runs.
It's giving him 3 runs.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to win a lot of games when you get 3 runs.
I don't know that this is some sort of master stroke, and I don't know if they're going to do it, but there are reports that they are working out Bryce Harper at first base.
Well, they talked about it. I think it's just an emergency.
Yeah, I don't think Davey Martinez says he doesn't see Bryce starting a game at first, but if they needed him there in a pinch, you could play first.
I wouldn't hate the move to start him at first base if Eaton is going right and Michael A. Taylor is playing well, and Soto, of course, has been your best hitter. I think Soto had 3 walks yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I know what Davey said, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Now, signs of life for the offense in terms of power. You had home runs yesterday from Rendon, Murphy, and Bryce. So you just hope that those guys get it going, and you get Strasburg back, and you rip off at least a 6-game winning streak, so I can win my $5 off Cakes.
Well, they're 2-8 in their last 10.
Grasping.
Jason, if you had to bet on who's going to win that bet, you weren't here, so we made a bet.
6
Cake
straight
says
wins.
that the rest of the season, the Nats will never pull off a
one entire season.
Yeah, I mean, based on how they're playing, I would say Cakes wins it, but who knows?
They could get hot. They just need to get hot. They're butt cold. They're the opposite of hot.
Last night was crazy because Rick Porcello hits a laced a gap into the left center field between Soto and Bryce.
Right, and how many at-bats does he get
Max Scherzer threw the ball like 97. I mean, he turned on a 97-mile-an-hour heater.
How often does Porcello bat?
I don't know. He probably has like 5 at-bats tops. But I gave him 3 runs. It was a bases clearing double.
And Mookie hit one?
Mookie ended up hitting one in the 7th to give him the 4-2 lead. And then Bryce came back and hit just a monster.
I think he hit about 440 or something.
4-3. I mean, game over.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you could say whatever you want. They just have to find a way to dig out of it.
I know. My point is, it's almost like a broken record. Broken record. They're just kind of hovering around 500.
Maybe it's just one of those years where they just got to battle for a wild card.
No, they're swooning right now. They're not hovering. They were much better. They're swooning.
Yeah,
right
JP,
now.
they're 9-17 in their last or 9-18 in their last 27.
Yeah, I mean they're falling apart. I thought they did a remarkable job for the first 2 months or so doing what they did, just shuffling guys up from AAA and plugging in guys, picking up free agents.
What would pushing the panic
able
button,
to do it now.
What would that result be if you pushed a panic button?
Well, I guess if you maybe you trade a young player for another piece. Maybe if you traded like a Robles or something, which I don't think they'll do under any circumstance. But like if they traded one of their top 3 prospects for another grasper, I don't know, another starter or another, that I would say that might be a panic button move. But I don't think they're going to do
Cole
that.
Hamels, you mentioned him yesterday.
Yeah,
he's a really good pitcher.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it doesn't necessarily address the offensive woes.
I don't know who you give up for Cole Hamels.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to ride these guys out. I mean, they might make another move.
They're going to ride them out,
but they're not coveted. They're just not going to do it.
If you went inside Dusty's head, what is Dusty thinking? Is he's
I don't know.
Sitting at home, not managing.
This is Dusty right now. A lot of laughing.
I think Dusty, didn't he get a job with Major League Baseball
He's
doing
a consultant with the Giants.
Yeah.
Which means he probably gets 6 figures to come into a plush office once every 2 or 3 weeks, shoot the S with the owner and the GM. It's probably a great life for Dusty Baker right now.
I don't know. It would be great. It'd be a great interview. Somebody would call him and get him on the horn. I'm sure we can't. But I would love to hear his thoughts. I wonder if Dusty thinks if he was managing it, they'd be 5 games better or something. I don't know.
Sure he does.
There's just a lot of pressure on Scherzer to go out there and win games 2-1 when he pitches. And that's just
too much.
That's just unfair.
Yeah. I just think they're wounded and they're not playing well. And it's all snowballing.
I mean, you would think that at some point they're going to break out of it and win 8 out of 10, but it's tough to envision that right now the way they're hitting and playing defense and running the bases.
By the way, they're 6th in the wild card. Now it's just 3.5 games back, but it just shows you how many teams.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got a legitimate shot there to wild card where you're only 3.5 back.
Yeah, you don't just start selling pieces when you're 3.5 games out of the postseason.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.